Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Busy hour on tap. In 15 minutes, we'll get into the National Football League. Trends that paid off last night, Monday Night Football. We'll move that forward. Paul Stone on the program, professional sports bettor. Some best bets in bowl games. Taking inside our pizzeria coming up in 45 minutes as well. And right now we go to the Progressive guest line to begin the hour as the great Brett McMurphy joins the program. America's insider for college football on 3 Sports. Brett, good afternoon. Thanks for the time as always, my friend. How are you?
Great, guys. Good to talk to you again. I love hearing about the Malinsky special. Miss that guy. It's cool that you guys still bring him up.
Yeah, we got to. We'll keep that a thing, no doubt, for as long as this show is ever going to be on the air. So let's begin with this. This is the second year of the 12-team playoff. The second of how many years until they tinker with it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mitch. They've got until next month to determine what next year's playoff is going to be. There appears to be some momentum towards changing it to 16 for next year, but ultimately the SEC and the Big Ten have to come to an agreement on what that format is going to look like. Automatic qualifiers, no qualifiers, no automatic qualifiers. Look, they've been working on this thing, I think, right after man invented fire, and they still can't agree on it. So how in the world are they going to figure out in a month? I guess I'm pessimistic. I wish they would. I don't think it's going to happen. Mitch, I think we go one more year after this with 12, and then I think in 2027 we'll have the new format. Whether that's 16 or that's 24, heck, maybe we'll get lucky and they'll honor the late, great Mike Leach and go with his 64-team playoff that he proposed. But I'm saying one more year of the 12-team after this year. And to be very candid, I think this year we probably would have been okay with the 4-team playoff. I think 12 is a few too many. Or you go to 16 and let in some others. Well, I think 4, we would have been fine.
I totally agree. If they go to 16 or even beyond that, are they still going to keep the conference title games?
That's a great question, and that's something that has to be determined. Maybe they get rid of the conference champion games, and the Big Ten has, one of their proposed playoff models was that instead of the conference championship game, instead of having 1 and 2 in your conference play each other because they would already be in the field, have your 4th or 5th place teams play in the quote in that game. It obviously wouldn't be the conference championship game, and then the winner of that game, it would essentially be a play-in game where the winner of the 4 versus 5 would then secure a berth into the college football playoff. So that's something each conference has to figure out. Certainly, it would not have the allure of a conference championship game, but again, I think especially this year, everybody talked about Indiana and Ohio State, what an incredible game it was. The stakes and all that stuff. And I agree somewhat, but think of how much bigger it would have been if this was a 4-team playoff. And we knew the loser of this game was in the field. If it was a 4-team playoff, it would have certainly added to the urgency and the build-up. Still a great game, but kind of one of the few drawbacks, I guess, when you expand the field.
What do you think of Notre Dame opting out and how they handled the whole situation with the AD and also it came out that now moving forward, if they're in the top 12 at the end, they're automatically in?
Well, I mean, look, I talked to you guys a little bit about it. I think Notre Dame deserved to be in the playoff, but I also realized how the committee ranked the teams that Notre Dame, the way the results played out with Texas Tech winning, with Duke winning, that they were not going to get in because they lost the head-to-head, and I didn't think they would drop the either SEC team out, Alabama or Georgia. But still, I realize these are exhibitions and all these different things. I just thought it was a bad look. I mean, we also had Iowa State and Kansas State opt out. I can understand why they did that a little bit more. They had coaching changes, but to have a 10-win season, you would have played BYU. It would have been the highest ranking non-playoff game. It'd be one of the highest ranking games, period, when you throw in the Tulane and James Madison playoff games. And it's simply, I don't like it. I understand it's an exhibition game. I understand that. Players can opt out. That's fine. That's cool. To each their own. But for a team to opt out, I don't like that, guys. I don't like that at all. I think it sends a bad precedent. And it basically, I was in Vegas last week for the College Football Hall of Fame inductions, talked to a lot of people. And the number one adjective I got when I asked people about Notre Dame was arrogance. That's the arrogance of Notre Dame, basically saying, we are not going to play in this game. And I asked several athletic directors from the ACC, if a school from the ACC would have done this, would they have been fined like the Big 12 fined Iowa State and Kansas State? They said absolutely yes. I asked ADs from the SEC, if an SEC school would have done that, would they have been fined? They said absolutely yes. Even though those conferences do not have bylaws that indicate that there is an automatic fine, they were very confident any of their conference teams would have been fined, yet Notre Dame does not get fined. I know they're an independent. However, they are part of the ACC bowl lineup, so they could fine them under the ACC football umbrella. But again, they didn't because they're Notre Dame.
Very good. America's college football insider, Brett McMurphy, our guest on the Progressive Guest Line. Alabama's favored by 1.5, A&M's 3.5, and 2 big spreads in the other 2 games. Do you see a possible upset this week?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think the Group of 5. I like both favorites. I think Ole Miss will handle Tulane. I think Oregon will handle James Madison. The OU game. The OU-Alabama game is going to be fascinating because Alabama dominated the stats in the first meeting, outgained them 2-1, and Oklahoma won the game. And now you've got Oklahoma still can't figure out their offense, but they are playing at home. Their defense has been incredible. Mm-hmm. But if Alabama can shred Oklahoma's defense like they did the first game and the second game, I think Alabama can win. There is some question about Ty Simpson. Is he 100%? He may not be 100%. Could that impact Alabama? I know it's hard to beat a team twice in one season, fill in all the cliches there. But I actually think OU will pull off the slight upset there. And in the other game, God, I think Miami can pull it off, but I think ultimately the home field's too much for the Hurricanes and the Aggies advance.
Okay. How about you're going to the Rose Bowl? Let's say Alabama wins. How do you see Alabama, Indiana?
I mean, Indiana just keeps proving everybody wrong. It's like to say, well, okay, the run's going to end right here. I just, I can't see it, man. They just keep plugging along, and they're not a fluke. The thing to keep your eye on is, I know last year Boise and Arizona State and Boise got in with the first round bye. So that kind of impacted the results. But if I remember correctly, I don't think any of the schools that had the first round bye won their opening game in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, they lost.
So
yes.
will it be different? Will it be different this year because we just did the top 4 seeding? So Indiana, Ohio State, Texas Tech, and Georgia. Look, whatever the number is that all 4 of those are going to lose, I would not take it. It would be a monster number. I think at least 3 of those 4 will advance. But Indiana's just, they keep proving they're for real. And, say what you will about, Ohio State. Yeah, they got to the goal line twice. They couldn't score. That's why Indiana won. But still, Indiana won, and I think they'll keep plugging along. I don't think they're going to win the title, but Pauly, I do think they'll win the Rose Bowl, and Wes Reynolds will be celebrating in the streets of Pasadena.
No kidding. So, Brett, under that scenario, then you said 3 of the 4 will win in the quarterfinals with the bye. Is the one team you think that would lose then? And I got to tell you, Oregon was very popular in the VSiN bowl betting guide, available right now, vsin.com/CFP. 5 people pick them to win the national title. So that I'm guessing that you would have the Ducks over Texas Tech.
Yeah, and I love Texas Tech, what Joey McGuire's done there. But, yeah, I mean, it's weird. Like, how messed up is not messed up, but it's just how weird is college football's playoff system in that Oregon last year is the number 1 seed, undefeated, first 13-0 season in the history of the Big 10, and they lose the game. And now they come into the playoffs as a 5 seed, and they've got an easier path to the national title as a 5 seed than they did the 1 seed. But yeah, I agree with you, Mitch. I think Oregon, they look the part. Like I said, they'll handle James Madison. They'll name the score there. I think both games involving a group of 5 teams will probably look something like the Vegas Bowl when we saw Washington play Boise State. And Oregon's in a great position. And I think last year, the motivational, they want to repay people for what happened last year. But I do think that was a huge learning experience for them. And I would not be shocked to see Oregon in that national title game.
Good observation. Follow Brett on X. He is at Brett_McMurphy. Does a great job for On 3 Sports, and he joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Love talking to you, Brett. Thanks so much. Enjoy the games this week.
All right, thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
You got it. Great job. Oregon's defense is real, and they were awesome against Iowa, great against Washington, and that Penn State game was bizarre, what happened there, but they were solid for 3.5 quarters in that game as well. So it starts Friday. Can't wait. Bama and Oklahoma, and get our college betting guide. Full previews of every game, best bets, the brackets, Mackinac power ratings, bowl picks across the network. Buy the guide now, $14.99, or upgrade to VSiN Pro and get the guide that's included. Every best bet, every host, every guest. VSiN.com/CFP. VSiN.com/CFP.
Trends paid the rent last night, and a 1-in-12 angle now exists going into Week 16 as a result.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Heaviest trend game of the year, maybe in several years, and I don't know if we're going to get one to match it anytime soon. They all these angles pointing towards the Steelers getting the job done last night, and it came through. Look, they don't pay the rent. They're fun to talk about a lot of times, but Tomlin still hasn't lost a home game on Monday Night Football. They haven't lost one since the early 90s. Tua finished with misleading numbers. He's 0 for lifetime attempts below 40 degrees.
And just terrible numbers. Awful.
Miami had negative 20 yards in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Can't move either.
No. Can
he take off and scramble and get the first down?
His final numbers, Pauly, last night were so misleading. It all happened late in the game when it was over with.
6 of 10 for 65 yards and a pick through 3 quarters. Maybe was his final game as a Dolphin. Today, McDaniel said everything's on the table. I wasn't happy with the quarterback play. He hasn't thrown for more than 173 yards since week 9. Everything he did occurred after it was 28-3.
Mm-hmm.
They are 31st in passing offense since week 10. Another indictment of what's going on. And he also, this is a damning quote. This is Tua on himself. I did a bad job with preparing the wide receivers. And in terms of operation, where to line up, and communication. When it came to personnel, well, it looked like it, how bad they were.
So there's also this moving forward now into Week 16. Teams are now 1-12 ATS after playing the Jets. Remember the Dolphins, their offense looked unstoppable against New York last week. Jets had no answers for him whatsoever. And it was Achane going hog wild, and then he got hurt. They brought in Jalen Wright, who was awesome, had more than 100 yards. And then last night, couldn't do anything until the game was over with. But so now that applies to Jacksonville playing at Denver. Now, we said yesterday on the show when we did the opening numbers, Denver at 3 was too light. Like, they needed to be higher than 3. I bet them anyway. I have Denver -3 in pocket, and the market is moving on this game in Denver's direction. So I saw a couple of 3.5s earlier today, or 3 with additional juice on the Broncos.
Bad beat if you bet 2 of most interceptions, too, that they're shutting them down. I'm sure that was a nice ticket as well. 4 for 212 he signed in 2024.
So then do they cut him? After June 1st, basically, if they get rid of the guy, it's the same amount of money as keeping him as if he's going to be the starting quarterback for next year. Then what do they do in the draft?
Or maybe it's not the draft. Maybe it's they look around somewhere else. I don't know. You know what kind of screwed this up for a lot of teams is how bad Browning looked when he was in there. All his interceptions and how bad he played. Because the last time Burrow got hurt, the guy was awesome, and they gave him a nice extension. But Browning went out there and was atrocious and got benched. So you look around the league for his backups or other guys, but this is you can't pay a guy $50 million in your 31st passing offense.
Right.
I think it's it.
I got to say, I mean, we're never going to live in a world where we have all 32 teams with like really elite quarterbacks. That can't I mean, for some reason, we can't have that many who are good living on this planet at the same time. But are we talking about a spot here in the NFL where the quarterback play is going to go down? I don't like any of these guys coming out of college.
Oh, yeah. We were totally spoiled there for a run.
Oh, I think so,
of the guys we lost Brady, we lost Manning, we lost Roethlisberger, we're going to lose Rodgers, Breeze, all that. The run on guys we had,
sure,
it was awesome.
That was the golden age of the NFL, of the quarterback in the NFL. Had to be. That was an unbelievable 20-year run in that neighborhood. And we have to include Mahomes and Josh Allen, obviously. Yeah. But so you're always going to have at least a couple of guys who are phenomenal and would be amazing in any era, obviously. But I don't think that list is going to be beyond like any number larger than like 7 or 8. That sucks.
Yeah.
Got to have good quarterback play to make it a fun league to watch. And, you know, all these teams who are just at the absolute bottom of the league, it's the common denominator.
Well, we love the trends, and they paid off last night. Yeah. You're right. And there's a lot of them flying your way on the Thursday night game. And a great job by Joe Osborne. But the Rams are 11-3 last 14 against Seattle. They've won 5 in a row in Seattle. They're 11-2 last 13 on the road, and they're 17-3 last 20 December games. But I just don't think there's any way Adams can play. They haven't ruled him out yet. But that's also, you don't want to make it worse because you got the playoffs coming up and trying to lock in the 1 seed. They should be able to beat Atlanta Monday night, and then they close with Arizona at home. And that should be an aerial circus. So... But they have, for whatever reason, they have dominated Seattle, and they've been great in Seattle.
So we have props already hitting the board for that game on Thursday night. And who did Guru make the case for today? That in fantasy leagues anyway?
Yes. Stafford loves to throw to the tight end.
You're not
kidding.
And
if you're not going to have Adams, that's also a great game for any time touchdown. All the guys that can get involved here, because he throws to 3-4 of them. But he made the case for Parkinson to go over, and also Parkinson anytime touchdown. And it'll be a fun tight end game. Puka is plus 105 to have 100 yards at DK. JSN is $1.17 to have 90 yards. I got to see more out of Shaheed, and I like him, but they have to be more, get him open, get more ways to get him involved. And because Kupp hasn't done much, Shaheed is plus money to get 40 yards. Some of the stuff hitting the board right now for this great matchup.
How about Puka, 16-1 Offensive Player of the Year compared to JSN minus 550? He has a higher prop for receiving yards. I would like to see Puka go for like 200 yards in this game.
Oh, that's certainly possible.
I would love it.
Yep, he's 95 and a half.
So I think here's the angle right now, is that Parkinson is sitting out there at, some books have his number on the board, and it's at 35 and a half in that neighborhood. That seems to be the consensus, 35 and a half. Don't you want to play him over right now, taking the chance that Adams is going to be out of the game? And if Adams, like if and when he is ruled out, that number is only going to go up. And even if Adams is going to play then, maybe you're kind of stuck with a number that goes down. But Adams, I think, is going to be compromised at minimum, right? Going into the game if he plays?
Can't play.
I don't think he can play either.
No.
So I think betting Parkinson right now, because there's really only one way this number can go, and that's to go up. As more and more people like John Hansen are going to make a case for the guy, and his numbers have been popping big time.
Parkinson has 6 touchdowns. Higbee has 2. Davis Allen has 3.
Yeah.
And Terrence Ferguson has a touchdown. I mean, he loves his tight ends. But the other thing is, are you spooked by what happened with the first meeting? Or you just say it's McVay at Stafford, they'll make the adjustments. He had 150 yards. They should have lost the game, and Darnold threw 4 picks.
So
it was incredible.
You tell me, which scenario is more likely to happen again? Darnold throws 4 INTs, or Matthew Stafford is 150 yards or fewer?
Darnold implodes again.
To throw for 4 more?
Rush, yes. Or at least, 2 or 3, and he just can't handle the pass rush and is off his game again. And in a little bit of what the Colts did last week, where it's, okay, JSN's open, and anyone else, good luck.
Sam Darnold is as low as minus 130 to throw an INT Thursday night.
Wow. That's excellent.
As low as minus 130.
What he does, he gets rattled. He can't handle the look at what's going on with the pass rush.
It's been
look at the Rams last year with the playoff game. He was terrible.
He was how about this, Paul? Think about this for 1 second. This is the way Sam Darnold's trending. Up until the Rams game 3 weeks ago, he was the best quarterback in the league in terms of accurate throws in a tight window. He has not completed one in the last 3 weeks in a tight window. So it was great for most of the season. And all of a sudden, it's kind of like, yeah, I remember what happened last year at the end when they had a chance to win 15 games and be the 1 seed. And then, oops, it did not go well for him in that game against the Lions and looking for redemption to take on the Rams. Oh, no, it got even worse in that game. So that's pretty startling to me. And then, so are we going to be, Kyron Williams was awesome again last week. What does that look like with Williams and Corum?
Yeah, Corum's been good.
And like the Seahawks running game is also, are we beyond the point of being alarmed with this ground game? Like
yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to be, right?
Yes. Not doing him any favors, right? So if I contain JSN, then what? Kupp can't move. Darnold has been accurate the last couple of weeks. The horrible throw against the Colts in the red zone. And you brought over Shaheed and you're hardly using him. I like Barner, but there also But there also has to be more passes his way, like the Atlanta. I think he got a bunch in the Atlanta game.
You can find even money right now on Matthew Stafford to have 2 touchdown passes. But if that's no Devontae Adams, though, too, that's like, man.
Well, the other thing, too, Seattle's got to, if they lose this game, they go to Carolina and they play the 49ers.
I know.
This could get juicy here, and if they stumble.
Like their overall seed?
Yeah. Could lose out. What happens if you're in an accident this time of year and the other driver doesn't have insurance or nowhere near enough? Suddenly the holiday plans take a backseat to medical bills, car repairs, and missed work. That's where Lasso Injury Law steps in. Their experienced team knows the ins and outs of uninsured and underinsured motorist claims, and they fight to make sure you're not the one paying for someone else's mistake. And if the worst ever happens, you're not alone. Lasso Injury Law is here to protect you and your family when you need it most. Call 702-625-8777 for a free consultation. No runaround, no voicemail, real people ready to help. Lasso Injury Law, they fight for you because your future matters. LassoInjuryLaw.com or call 702-625-8777.
Best bets bowl season coming up, Paul Stone next. Also, how his philosophy changes betting bowls compared to the regular season.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll get some best bets in the bowl season here as we head out to the Progressive Guest Line. Professional sports bettor Paul Stone joins the program. Before we get into your best bets for this week, Paul, how about your philosophy of betting bowls this time of year compared to how you do it in the regular season?
I'll say, first of all, Mitch, I think there is great opportunity for the hardworking handicapper. Obviously, the transfer portal and all the opt-outs and NFL draft declarations and all that's made it a lot of hard work. But if I think you're willing to do the work, I think there are, there's money to be made here. And not a great revelation on my part, but it is a different exercise handicapping the bowls versus the regular season. And I would say the primary difference, at least in my individual case, is during the regular season, to me, it's all about getting numerical value. I'm rarely going to bet a game if I'm not getting the best of the number during the life cycle of the number. So, maybe if it goes to 5.5, I might lay 5.5 if it was 4.5 before. But if it crosses a key number, if I'm getting the worst of the number, I'm not going to bet it. It's all about the numerical value. But during the bowl season, to me, information is king. It becomes more about getting that information, and that information is who's in and who's out, who's playing, who's not playing. Yesterday morning, I was reading over and over all the information on Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby, and finally came to the level where I was confident to say, man, there's no way this guy's playing. Bet Navy -4. It immediately went up to -6.5. Maybe it settled at 6. I really hadn't looked at the number too close today, but it's about information and being confident enough when the time comes to respond to that information and enter the marketplace.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Case in point tonight, Salute to Veterans Bowl. Troy was laying 3. Jacksonville State now minus 2.5, and the totals come down. It was 51.5. Now it's 48.5. What side are you on?
Yeah, I'll tell you, these Alabama schools used to play regularly back when both were members of the FCS, but that changed around the turn of the century when Troy became a FBS member back in 2001. So this is going to be the first meeting between the teams in 24 seasons tonight in Montgomery. And looking at these early bowl games, guys, I don't think there's a team, say the first week or so, I don't think there's a team that has been as impacted with portal and injury and situations like that as Troy has. And they have especially been hit hard on the offensive line, and that's primarily why you see this swift line movement, in my opinion. That offensive line tonight against Jacksonville State could be without 4 starters. First of all, both starting tackles, Elijah Prather and Garner Langlow, they're expected to miss tonight's game due to injuries, as is third-year starting left guard Eli Russ. Paul Bowling, he's the other starting offensive guard. He's entered the portal. He's not expected to play. So suffice it to say, Troy's offensive line is in shambles. And if that's not enough, their top rusher, Tay Meadows, 695 yards rushing, he's in the portal. He's not expected to play. That leaves Jordan Lovett as the only Troy running back who has a carry all season. So they're going to have somebody running the football tonight who hasn't even had a carry all year. They are really thin on the offensive line and at the running back position. Also, Troy not particularly adept at defending the run. They had 3 teams this year, Texas State, Old Dominion, and JMU, rush for over 300 yards against them, and that's what Jacksonville State does best. You probably know this, but Cam Cook, leading rusher in the entire nation this year, 1,659 yards, 5.6 yards a carry, 16 touchdowns. And they also, Jacksonville State, have a dual threat quarterback in Caden Krill, 1,085 yards rushing. Troy, not surprisingly, they have not defended running quarterbacks well either. I think Jacksonville State's going to win this game tonight, and they might win it by double digits. I like Jacksonville State, even with the line move, minus 2.5 over Troy in Montgomery.
Yeah, quickly, you might want to grab that immediately because it looks like this bad boy, Paul, is going to be moving to 3.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just one-way action. I mean, and again, it's about there's a lot of variance in these results, and people just pile on, and they're isolated games. So, yeah, you better get on it quick.
Myrtle Beach Bowl Friday morning, Kennesaw State, Western Michigan. How about the total here? And that's come down. Take it away.
Yeah, you look at these teams. Both teams, are going to have most hands on deck, meaning most will have most of their players, which is really critical, again, when you're handicapping these bowl games. Looking at Kennesaw State, they will be without a couple of defensive contributors, linebacker Garland Binyard and safety Antonio Stevens. Both have been out, but they've been out the last several weeks, so that's not a big surprise to them. I don't see a whole lot of value on either side, so I've turned to the total here, and I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. First of all, I think inarguably Western Michigan had the MAC's top defense this season. I think the statistics support that. Against FBS opponents this year, the Broncos only allowed 18.6 points per game, 304.2 yards per game. They ranked 13th nationally in both those categories. You look at their 9 games against MAC opponents, like opponents, teams kind of at their weight class, isolated those 9 games, including the championship game against Miami of Ohio. In those games, they allowed only 13.2 points per game, so really good against teams at their own class level. Kennesaw does like to play with a little pace, so that's something you're a little bit concerned about when you're playing overs, but Western Michigan likes to play slow. They take a slower approach to the game. Their game's only totaled 131 plays a game between the two teams, so that's really low. You look at Western Michigan's defense against 2 of the better offenses this season in the MAC, those being Toledo and Ohio. Both Toledo and Ohio had under 300 yards against Western Michigan. Toledo only 280, Ohio 287. Those teams combined for only 4.4 yards per play against Western Michigan. Kennesaw State, their defense this year kind of up and down, but they were really good in the Conference USA championship game. They held a pretty explosive Jacksonville State offense in that championship game to 15 points, 306 yards, and a shade under 5 yards a play. So they came to play that night. looking at the weather report, this game kicks off at 11 a.m. Eastern there in Conway, South Carolina on Friday morning. Winds forecast to be in the range of 10 to 20 miles. So look at that hourly forecast if you can on Friday, even leading up to Friday. Anything 15 or over, I think, makes a difference. I think that further bolsters our under position. An hour ago, this game was pretty much 49.5 or 50. Now it's pretty much a consensus 48.5, so it's going down as well. But I still like Kennesaw State, Western Michigan in the bowl game there in Myrtle Beach to go under 48.5.
All right, one more game. Monday morning out here Pacific time. It's 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific in the Idaho Potato Bowl. Wazoo's catching 2.5 against Utah State. Who do you like?
You know, looking at Washington State, this is a team essentially without a conference this year. So they're kind of, the odd man out. They were left out of the realignment. I think they have a chip on their shoulder. And then at the end of this regular season, they see their head coach, Jimmy Rogers. He leaves the Palouse for the greener pastures of Ames, Iowa, after Matt Campbell leaves Ames to take the Penn State job. So they lose their head coach. It's just kind of been a tough deal. They will be without one of their key players, Brock Dew. He's a veteran center. He's one of their team captains. He's not going to play due to injury. They have several players in the portal, but their team voted to let those players in the portal play in the bowl game if they choose to. A couple of them apparently are going to play in the bowl game tonight, one of those being linebacker Anthony Polano. He's got 65 tackles this year, so he's a force on that defense. Another being their wide receiver, Tony Freeman, who has 51 catches. So those guys will certainly be welcome. Utah State, they've got a key absence as well. Their top receiver, Brandon Pegan, 66 catches, 926 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's in the portal. He's not expected to play for Utah State. I think Utah State, with Washington State's coaching situation and a little bit of the turmoil there, might be the more bowl-ready team on the surface, if you will. But I'm taking Washington State plus the points. First of all, I think Washington State's going to be fully engaged. I think they're going to have, again, that chip on the shoulder. I think they're going to be ready to go. And plus, I look back on Washington State's performance against 3 ranked opponents all on the road during this season. Mm-hmm. Those 3 games, of course, being the 3-point loss at Ole Miss. They led that game in the third quarter, lost by 2 at Virginia, led that game by 10 starting the fourth quarter, and then the 4-point loss at James Madison led that game midway through the fourth quarter. So they could have won any or all of those 3 games, competing with some of the best teams in college football. 2 of those teams made the playoff. A third, Virginia, would have made the playoff had they won over Wake Forest over Duke in the conference championship game. So they have competed with the best. I think Washington State's going to come to play. I think they're going to beat Utah State in the Idaho Bowl there on the blue turf of Boise.
Very good. Dynamite
Good
analysis
job.
as always, my man. Thanks for the time, Paul. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, love these bowl games. Look forward to talking to you guys next week. Good luck.
Thank you.
There you go. On X at Paul Stone Sports, and he was on the Progressive Guest Line. Up next, we'll have a slice inside of our pizzeria, some long shot bets that would pay off quite handsomely. I'm looking at the board right now. Oh, man, a lot of good legs to ponder. We'll kick them around coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Hungry for a winner? Sometimes all you need is a slice.
You make this pizza?
We swap pepperoni for parlays and give you alternate lines instead of anchovies.
I'm telling you, this pizza idea is really gonna happen.
From our kitchen to your wallet, sweat with us and throw some pizza money on it.
Double meatball, pepperoni, sausage, peppers, onions, extra mozzarella.
Welcome to Mitch and Pauly's Pizzeria.
Love it. Great job, guys. It's your segment. Phenomenal. Brought to you by Mama's Pizza, the only place where your pizza money gets you a win. Check them out, mamaspizzas.net, and the best pizza in Texas for the holidays. I know they're packed and very busy this time of year. All right, let's start with George. Texans, 49ers, exacta, Super Bowl, 160-1. Great start, George.
I will say that this year of any year going back several, I will not be surprised if we get absolute chaos.
Yeah, I think it's coming. And Mamma Mia, if they didn't get hurt with all these guys on defense. Oh, this 49er team is so bad. It's unfortunate. Georgia wins it all. Rams win the Super Bowl. Arizona college basketball. Colorado Avalanche win the Cup. 1,376-1. 2 days ago, Kevin in Maryland. I like everything but Georgia.
Why?
But Georgia can do it, but
Of course they can.
I prefer the other. You know, Pat,
It's a tough path.
Pat Forty said this. It's not. I think it's great. How about Arizona, Michigan against the field? I get Arizona and Michigan. You can have the rest of college basketball. How good they are.
Well, I would take the field in a heartbeat, but I get his point with how great they're playing.
Georgia would get the Buckeyes in the semis?
Yes.
Yeah, boy, I don't know about that. They look great in the SEC title game, but Powers made a good point about how they struggled against Tech. Texans, Rams, Super Bowl. OKC wins it all and wins 74 games. Ohio State, Oregon matchup. Avs win the Cup. Buccaneers division. Sure, why not? Almost Tampa Bay Lightning. Almost 10,700-1. Okay, Rich in Canada. Excellent. And he said some of these and several in baseball. Texans, Rams, Super Bowl. OKC, 74 wins. And then he's got Ohio State, Oregon title game. Avs win the Cup. Lightning division. Another big one. But look what he did last night. Peekaboo. He got creative last night in the football game, and he had Gainwell, 6+ receptions, Gainwell 80 yards, Achane 6+ receptions, and Waller receptions. And that paid, what did it say pay? 377 to 1?
Yeah.
337 to 1. Excellent. He got involved there with some alts in that game. Good job, Rich. Keep them coming. Now, Ed thought this was done. And to Ed and Lance, take some money off the table, and you can hedge tonight. Wembanyama, NBA Cup MVP, 28 to 1. But Spurs win the NBA Cup 35 to 1. Lance has 25 to 1 to win the Cup. It's a 2-point spread. Go ahead. You did a great job. You're here. Take a little Knicks money line and lock in a profit.
Well, what if the Spurs win the game and Wemby's not the MVP?
Well, I'm also speaking to Lance too, but certainly, is that the same ticket with Wemby? Did he parlay it? Or
No,
has he got them
it
separate?
looks like those are separate tickets.
Okay, yeah, separate. So he's got 35 to 1, and Wemby's down to 4 to 1 to win the MVP, according to Ed.
I can't wait to find out the starting lineups. Luke, we got to be on that actually.
Right. See if they bring him off the bench again.
If he's not starting, I think we have to play Knicks first quarter.
Travion Henderson, hello. Steve in Rhode Island last week, 18 to 1. He's now the favorite after his big performance. And now you're on national TV, everyone to watch with the Ravens, and you close with the Dolphins and the Jets. Oh boy, what he could do against the Jets. Just give him the damn ball.
So how many players is that down to?
I think you can make the case for 5 guys because there's 3 games left.
I think you still can.
Yeah.
It's Paul. Shuck can still win that.
Yep. Javi, Michigan college basketball. Thunder beat the Pistons. Avs win the Cup. Mariners American League, 3,800 to 1. Hard Rock. The real Mr. ACL on X. Again, Georgia ticket. Rams NFC, Gonzaga college hoops. Pistons win the East, 2,684 to 1. Love the
conceivable.
Pistons. Yeah, sure. Pistons playing great ball. We gave out plus 450 to win the division. They're like 6 games up on the Cavs.
I would love to see Gonzaga cut the nets down one time.
I know. Mark Hoppel on X. Texans AFC. BYU makes the Final Four. Spurs get the 2 seed in the West. 400 to 1. Not bad. That's doable too. And creative.
Can they get the 2?
And 18 and 7, yeah. They can.
Okay.
Mark B on X. Miami makes the playoff. Already in. Michigan wins college basketball championship, and the Thunder repeat, 126 to 1. Well done. That's a good ticket.
Yeah.
And one more from JWBB in Virginia. Avs win the West. Man City wins the Prim. They're right there. Georgia makes the title game. Spain World Cup, 114 to 1.
I bet that one.
Yeah?
I'm tailing JWBB
Really?
in Virginia. I think that's a great ticket because don't look now, Man City's 2 points back.
Mm-hmm. Colorado's a wagon.
We have Nigel Seeley on the program tomorrow.
Looking forward to that.
We'll talk World Cup draw. from people who I trust already, they're like Spain's an absolute unit. They're a wagon. Watch out. They're the best team.
Okay.
And then Georgia. Now that's, again, they have to get by Ohio State. But maybe, what if Ohio State loses? Just to make the title game? Not getting too greedy there. And you're right. Abs are, oh my God, they're loaded.
Yeah, they're like 320 on the road tonight. Yep. 817-870-2571. Don't work for someone else. Be your own boss. 15 locations available. Get it right now, Mama's Pizza. 817-870-2571. MamasPizzas.net. The Mama's Pizza on Instagram. And for the World Cup, there's a location half a mile from Jerry's World. Cowboy fans, go over there as well. Cauliflower crust, gluten-free crust. The Wicked Pig is an excellent pizza. Just a nice write-up a couple weeks ago. The garlic butter on the crust, the dough, the ingredients, top-notch. Great meat lovers, pepperoni, chicken, and bacon pizza. Franchise opportunities, check them out, mamaspizza.net. Mama's Pizza, the only pick that always covers. Feeding hungry Texans since 1968. Go get it.
Okay, so here is what I have done since we've been on the air with this segment. I'm kind of like I'm cherry picking from all of these great suggestions here and building cross-sport parlays on my own. I have a couple of anchors, one of which would be the Avs to win the West. I have them already tied up in some parlays, and I have to continue building it that way. So I have that. I have added 2 different teams to win the title in college basketball. So Avs to win the West, Arizona to win the title college basketball, and I flipped it with Duke so far. Man City to win the Prim, spin the World Cup, and then the Pistons to win the East. The ticket with Arizona pays $1,557 to 1. The ticket with Duke pays almost $2,000 to 1. I am going to keep building, I think, with these teams, with other teams to win the title in college basketball. I love the Avs as an anchor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm really there with Man City.
Yeah.
Spain has to be a part of it. And then in the Eastern Conference,
Knicks look good.
Yes, they do.
Another good win for the Pistons last night in Boston. Damn, they're good.
Yep. So, but I could also flip out Detroit and build some of these with the Knicks.
Yeah.
These are pizza. I mean, this is a pizzeria segment here.
I was watching our guy Tony Rizzo. I mean, they are very frustrated with the Cavs. That's very disappointing what's going on.
So don't you, like when you look in the standings in the East, the Celtics, great story so far.
I told you it was Fugazi.
I don't think they're coming out of the East.
No.
Any of these other teams, man. The Raptors, again, good story. You can have them.
Yeah,
I'm not there with the Magic, but also like, what did the Magic look like in March and April when they're fully healthy? In theory, they can be really, really good. Philly, no. Atlanta, if they traded Trae Young, maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, Atlanta, I think, would be a prime candidate to get Freak. They got a lot of good stuff to make that work.
Not bad with the Pistons.
Yeah.
Not that long ago, we said Pistons plus 450 to win the division. They're minus $8 now.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Cavs 6 to 1.
Boy, these they add up quickly.
Yeah, they do.
Again, just full disclosure, I'm putting like $50 on some of these. The $50 ticket with Duke to win the title pays $97,000. The $50 ticket with Arizona to win the title pays $78,000.
Awesome.
Little pizza money there.
That's great. Yeah. Excellent. If you're Lance, you got to take a little bit on the Knicks. You got 25 to 1. And also like Ed, you got 35 to 1. Here you are. This is what you want. Money on the street. Pick it up.
Yeah.
Playing on the ground. I mean, you get 2-point spread tonight.
Put it this way. If Oklahoma City didn't lose to the Spurs, I had Oklahoma City plus 225 to win the cup. If Oklahoma City got by the Spurs, I would be very interested in taking the Knicks plus the points tonight to try to win both bets.
Right. Would have been a big number, too. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
excellent.
Yeah. Good thoughts, everybody.
Good job.
Thank you for sending those in.
Good job, but not Rich. That was a nice cash last night.
Yeah, it was.
Excellent. Got creative. He needed the garbage time, but strange stuff happens in garbage time. And a lot of big tickets cashed last night in that game.
Yep. Busy NHL slate coming up. VSiN senior betting analyst Jonathan Davis joins the program. A couple of Malinsky specials, a blazing hot goal in the first 10 angle, and we'll tell you which team is 0-5 in this situation coming up next.